A huge thank you to today's sponsor, SM Cleaning and Support Services, one of London's leading commercial cleaning and specialist support providers. Based in the capital, SM Cleaning delivers high-quality, in-house cleaning solutions across offices, residential developments and complex commercial sites throughout London. With a strong reputation for reliability, compliance and attention to detail, their experienced teams cover everything from daily cleaning to specialist window and facade services. Built on long-standing values of professionalism, accountability and teamwork, SM Cleaning continues to set the standard for dependable, modern cleaning services across the UK. We're chatting on today with Robert Hisee, the UK's #1 unconscious mind therapist.
That's the one.
How are you, Rob?
Very well, thank you, Dave.
Right.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute
Been
pleasure.
looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really interested in what you do, all your stuff, learning a little bit about it. But before we get there, let's go back into your childhood a little bit, where you grew up,
Yep.
family life, that sort of stuff, mate.
All right, mate, well, I was from Bermondsey, South London. Brought up on the Bonamy estate, the old Bonamy. There's a new Bonamy now, that people know, but the old Bonamy was like old brown brick. Had like a deep underpass. Everyone used to come on there if they were on their toes from the old building because it had like a services that went under. So, and as you got underneath there, there'd be all like alleyways and staircases up into different blocks and up to other levels. So it was a fun place to grow up, you know what I mean? It's like one of them places you think, oh, I'd like my kids to grow up there, but actually, on the other side of it, they didn't get all the fun and that we sort of had, you know? So I grew up there.
Character building, right?
Character building, definitely, yeah. And, so I went to school in Bermondsey, Millwall supporter, you know, family thing, you know, family history of Millwall. And then, so on the Bonamy, what was good about growing up there is like I learned to drive on there because there's always stolen cars. It was like a good little place, like... in the 80s, you can imagine it was like Blur Punt speakers, Pioneer stereos. So you used to get joyriding because in them days you only had to put people used to cut off little bits of scaffold pipe about that big, put it over the barrel. So on the way home on a Friday, Saturday night, and people were out, the kids would be out there, just pop a barrel and then just put a screwdriver in. It was easy to nick cars back then. So on my estate, on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, there was always bundles of motors. Like, well, not bundles, but you know, enough cars, there'd be like little XR2s and so if we got a good car like that, we'd be buzzing because we'd have the spoilers off. So mate used to come round when he was about, I reckon, when I was about, I don't know how old I was, a little kid, anyway, BMX days. And he'd come round, knock on my door Saturday morning, he'd go, Rob, we got a Capri or something, you know, it'd be a good touch, Escort vans and that. So his brother used to have the batteries off of us, you know, like, he might mug us off actually. Like, when we look back now, we think he used to give us a £5 each to come, we'd be grafting all day. And we'd go down and take all the batteries out, strip the stereos out, rip all the systems out, the speakers, and then all try to drive them, you know. It was just a mad, when I think back now how it was like a playground. But no one come on there, unless you knew everyone on there, so you were safe on there. And so that'd be me Saturday mornings. And then as we got older, we used to go to his older brother, like he's well older than us, and he used to take the liberties of us. He used to have the spoilers off of us and everything. He must have earned a fortune each week, do you know what I mean? But it was to get up to no good like that. But also, you had the fun side of it. But then there's obviously the other side of it for the violence and the bullying and the the drugs and everything else that goes on. Like, you know, when we was kids, the only thing you wanted to be was a drug dealer or an armed robber. How muggy it might sound, that was the truth, because the only people who had any money on your estate was the armed robbers or the drug dealers, you know. And the armed robbery was still in them days, still a thing. It ain't so much now. But then that's what you'd see, people doing jump ups and lorries and things like that.
That's your way out. That was
the only way out. There weren't nothing else. Yeah, we didn't fit in. You couldn't build rapport with anyone else out of that environment. Remember, there was no mobile phones. There was no internet. So, you know, your environment felt closed in. It felt bigger than where it was. Like, just Bermondsey was its own place. We never really went out of four walls, and we never really left the estate when we was young as kids. Really, it was always on just your estate, so everyone knew everyone. And, you know, when I tell people as I've like moved on in life and moved out of the areas and, you know, done whatever, people go, why don't you ring the police? I'm like, well, one, we would never ring the police because you're just brought up that way, you'd never grasp. But two, if you did, imagine what would happen to you. Your fucking life would be hell, wouldn't it? Imagine living on the, you know, it's like you must have seen people on the estate who did grass, they'd have spray paint over their mum and dad's car, grass, like that's their life over.
And worse.
And worse, yeah, and they get battered every time they got seen. So, you know, people don't understand the working class rules of living in them places, like especially like upper middle class people. They don't really get it that like you can't go into that zone of ringing the police and things. You've got to deal with your own stuff. And I never had no cousins. All my cousins were out of different parts of London, so it was, you know, like everyone got bullied and fighting around there and whatever. You know, it was just part of what it was, but it wasn't bad. I had like good friends growing up. Done a bit of boxing for the Lynn, a Fisher first of all, Fisher downside. Then went to the Lynn. I see us first stabbing at 11. I see a first shooting at 15. That was in the Gym Palace. The shooting. They'd done the bouncer.
Yeah.
That was, I was only about 15, and I think I was.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. So then they had the one in the scene years later. That was a different one. I think Gail got caught by accident.
That's right.
But yeah, the Gym Palace one, I was in there that night. Remember that? But that was, you know. Then as you get older, you see like a lot worse things you can't talk about on here. That, you know, you have mates that do things and go away for long times, and you know, it's quite a crazy life. And you know, a lot of people, you know, do move out and better themselves, but you know, it's hard to explain, I think, to the upper class and upper middle class. They think they know it.
Did you know when you was in that chaos and that disorder that did you think that was normal, or was there something inside you going, I need to get out of this at some stage?
Not when I was really young. As I got older, I glassed a bouncer and they kicked the fuck out of me after when I was 18, and that was a good turning point for me. I really went into my music a lot more. That was a big turning point because I weren't like my pals. Some of my pals I grew up with, you know, they'd get up to things or do something, you know, hurt someone with fucking stab someone or bottle someone or whatever, and they wouldn't give a fuck. They'd go straight into the next bar and crack on. Where me, when that happened to me, I had a fucking nightmare still. I felt sorry for the fella, you know. Even though
the fella that you
because it wasn't even his fault really. He got in the middle or something.
Yeah.
I got glassed and went for someone and missed, and ended up stabbing him in the head across there. Cutting
so you had a bit more of a conscience about it.
Yeah, I knew I had a conscience, and that's when I knew it was a game changer for me. I knew that, like, because it wasn't his fault. If I got to the person I meant to, I wouldn't have given a shit, I don't think, because they'd already been glassed. But in the Frog and Nightgown, New Year's Eve it was. So I had a bit of a conscience. I knew that weren't for me. I was like, even boxing, I was a defensive boxer. I've never been a bully, I've never been aggressive. You know, all my pals know that that ain't the way I am. Do you know what I mean? But you still, growing up around there, you're going to get pulled in amongst it a bit, you know. But that was, again, I've never gone out to ever hurt anyone. I've always been in defence, if you know what I mean. But they fucking ironed me out, the bouncers. Had me fucking eye was bleeding from inside, broken ribs. But yeah, I remember, but still waking up feeling sorry for the geezer because he got like cut there, and I remember blood down his face there. My little mate Nuts, you know, Peanut, you remember him, Nuts? I remember looking at that bouncer, he was trying to help me when they had me on the floor. And I just remember his little legs, they were just holding him up like that, his little legs was twitching. But yeah, it was all chaos, but we all thought it was good back then, you know what I mean? It was all part of it was normal. It was normal, yeah. Like, it was more normal to see it, do you know what I mean, than be involved for me, but it was normal, like, my pals were at it all the time. You always see people getting, you know, it's like Old King Road, if it went off to be bottles, glasses flying, fucking birds, you know, grab them under the table. And but saying on that other side, then when I went into the music side, it was a lot more loving, do you know what I mean? When I picked a lot more of sort of fan, I thought, fuck this, I'm going to stick to my music. And I stick to my music, and so I got in a band. So some of all the little faces around there, I taught them how to play guitar. I was playing guitar at 11 because I was shit at school. I'm dyslexic with ADHD, so at school I was useless. But I learned to play the guitar. And when I learned it, I was pretty good. So my old man would make sure I went to guitar lessons on a Wednesday because in them days they had bands in pubs. Well, at least I know you're going to make a fucking living at something. At least if you play a guitar, I know that you're going to always be all right for a few quid, which is wrong nowadays, but at the time it was. And I practiced, you know, played the guitar, and I left school at 14, and I couldn't cope with it. I kept bunking. You know, my old man would find me on the estate, take me back to. I remember when I went to Scott Lidget, it was like a crazy school, and then it got closed down when I was. What year was I? A third year or fourth year, whatever. Third year, I think. They closed it down into the third year, and they sent me to Blackheath and Bluecoats. Man, I couldn't cope. I couldn't talk in class. I'm used to fucking setting pencils on fire in science and having madness. And now I wasn't allowed to speak. These kids were strict. Like, I just couldn't cope with it. And So I kept bunking. He'd take me back to school. I'd walk up the stairs. I remember him watching him and my mum, watching me go up the staircase into Blackheath and Blue Coast. I'd walk up the landing, across the corridors, down the back, out the rugby pitch, back on the fucking, I don't know what it was, 53 bus if I remember. Take me straight back down the old Kent Road. I think I was back before they were after time. Then that was it in the ML, man. I come in one day, my mum went, they've rung up again, you ain't been to school. And I jumped out the middle window. My old man was kind of thought, I want to get a dig here. So I jumped out the middle window on the old Bonamy. And legged it, and then I thought I'd run away from home. And one of them, I thought, he's going to give it to me. But it got about 10 o'clock at night, and I was starving, I hadn't eaten and all that. I thought, I'm just going to have to go and face the music. And as I came out the block, I turned the corner, there was my old man standing there. And he went, and I thought, I'm going to get it. He went, don't worry, boy, you ain't got to go no more. I think he just knew that it weren't for me. I just couldn't cope, you know what I mean? So he went, listen, I'm going to give you a job, but you ain't fucking sitting indoors all day. I'm going to get you a job and you're going to pay fucking housekeeping. I only got 30 quid a week, and I give my mum a pack of fags and a box of chocolates every week. You know what I mean? But I'd rather that. I was working in the scrapyard. Excuse me. I was working in the scrapyard, melting aluminium, doing things like that, illegal aluminium thing they made up, and it was good. But I loved it, you know, being a kid around a bit of naughtiness. The lorries are coming out, siphon the diesel out and pour it into the thing, and they'd buy the diesel off the lorry drivers and all that. So, I had all that going on. That was good. It was good old days.
When you started playing the guitar and you started your band and doing your music and all that sort of stuff, was that a little bit of an escape, a little bit of a safe space in a way?
It was definitely a safe space, and I knew that I had a passion for it anyway. And some of the boys that I taught to play guitar, bass, drums, you know, started coming to the academy with me, and we started a band called Clear. It was a good band. It was me, Nolden, Joey Coveney, John Say, Ben Sweeney on rhythm, me on lead, and what else was there? We had a little scuzzer, not scuzzer, what was his, I can't remember, my brain's gone dead. Michael McShane, I can't remember his nickname. Fucking hell, I can't believe it. Anyway, well, we had him on, like Bez, he used to dance with Brackers in his Union Jack boxer shorts and that. We used to do like all gigs up and all around Bermondsey. Then I ended up leaving that band, getting in another band called The Sound, where I was the front man, lead singer, lead guitarist. My cousin Kevin come over from Australia, played rhythm, Diansy on bass, Pugsy on drums. We become like a big thing in Bermondsey. We sort of set the music scene up in there.
What's your vibe?
It was like indie. It was like that 95, 96. We had an album out called Mrs. Blue because of the blue in Bermondsey.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, we had a favourite, our biggest song was Bubblegum. Everyone loved it. We just tore up and down the country, go up and down the country and everything. I'm gutted that there weren't social media then, because we was like proper young chaps. We would have like gone, you know. Because it was the Rattle Company days. You didn't have any say unless you got a deal by them. But we used to have a good following. And we played the 100 Club. That was a good one. We'd done the 100 Club, Oxford Street. And we'd done it twice. Then the second time we got banned. Because imagine it, we had like, when we first time we done it, the geezer who owned the 100 Club said, this hasn't been, it's like 95, I think, 96. He said, this hasn't been as packed since the Buzzcocks, yeah, in the 80s. And that was like a compliment for us, like a Bermondsey band, doing our own indie music. And on the second gig we done, they fucking done every bounce. They opened a fucking iron every bounce. Right,
the following?
All the following, yeah. The bouncers got bullying. And then, you know, we took two double-decker buses over there, you know, like, and you can imagine, like, I was gone by then. By this time it went off, it was later in the evening. So the bouncers got bullied with someone, scurved someone. They've just ironed every single bouncer out, like, completely bad as well. And they went, you're banned from playing the 100 Club. So we got banned from the 100 Club. Yeah, that was the end of that one. But we played all the other clubs around Camden and, you know, Soho, wherever we used to go. Then, yeah, from there, fast forwarding it, I did the album out and all that. Eddie Webber, he was in, you know, Eddie Webber, the actor. He was my manager in the band then. He managed that band, Eddie. And then we went from, then I got a kid. I had a kid on the way, my Bob. And that was the end of the rock and roll lifestyle. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Responsibilities.
Yeah, sitting around puffing the fucking, like, thinking I was a rock star and going out, meeting birds and doing whatever we used to do. To fucking, shit, this has got real now. So I had to...
How old was you then?
21 when I had him,
okay.
When he was born, yeah. So that just stopped all the music thing, and I had to go work. I was painting, decorating. I think that was the hardest year of my life, really, being 22, you know what I mean? 22, I think, having a kid, painting, decorating, thinking, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I'm nobody, I'm nothing. Like, all my mates were sort of excelling, all in different games, you know, but they're all doing well, and I was fucking getting £318 a week painting and decorating and grafting for it, you know. So fast forwarding, I had kids and I got married later on to someone else and had 2 other beautiful boys. I got into sales, and I think this is like the people ask, how do you get into the mind? Yeah, how do you get into becoming a leading therapist? And I said, it weren't from good intention. Like, people feel when I say this fucking heroic story that, you know, my childhood trauma, which it is, it has developed, it has been into that, it has been my gift really. But the initial being was from being in sales. So I used to listen to people like Zig Ziglar, sales guys on cassette tapes and CDs back then, yeah. And I used to, so it was psychology, but I never knew it was psychology. And being from the streets anyway, you had to be, I didn't realise if a chameleon you had to be being from around there. You know, like some lunatic murderer walks in the pub who, you know, is a fucking psychopath, like literal proper psychopath. You'd adapt to make this fucker happy. Whatever he says, you'd agree. You can't understand him because they're out there nutting a bit of thing too much, and you're going, yeah, and you think, oh, I meant to say no then. And you know, everyone's like, and you'd be on your tiptoes around these people because they're fucking absolute lunatics. And then you'd get people, you'd have to step up and act, you know, sometimes you have rows with people and building sites and things. You'd have to step up, even though you didn't have any intention, you'd have to hold your own. And you have to learn how to, you know, be kind, be aggressive, be a people pleaser. You have to learn all these things. I think being from working class, we get a lot of skills good for sales that we don't get, you know, people don't realise that. It's just their confidence, don't realise that they could make a lot of money in sales, a lot of working class people, because we are good with people. Because we've got no fucking choice to be able to get in and out of conversations or whatever, or environments. So that's how I got into it, listening to that. I got into sales, and I said I got into it. My reason I got into the mind game is I got headhunted by the Germans. I worked for the Flemish, smashed it. I couldn't believe how easy it was doing sales. I'm used to a building site, someone, Irishman, going, get up here, you little cunt, get the fucking muck up there, you little prick. You know, like being treated like shit and pissing down the rain, and you're still grafting as long as you could before you got rained off. And all of a sudden, I got this job, cutting the story short now, I've been in the print, I've had a million different jobs. And when I got into sales, and I blagged my way in, made out I had a CV, made out I'd done all school and all that, didn't do fuck, my cousin helped me do it. Blagged in as a trainee sales job and absolutely smashed it. I didn't realise that how good it was, you know, like how easy it was. Like, they took me out, when the first day I was fully trained, and the sales director took me out, and I'm going around to offices with a company credit card, I've got a brand new motor, I wear a suit, so I'm clean every day instead of all shit on my hands, all scabs on my fingers and that. And I remember thinking, fuck me, is this it? Is that a good day? We had a good day's day, didn't we? It was an hard day, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know, it wasn't like we even started work, you know. For me, I was like, so I thought, yeah, I could get used to this. So I ended up smashing sales. And I remember one day being I started doing really good in sales, and I was known all over the South. I smashed it for my industry. And I remember one day going to a sales meeting, and a sales guy going, oh, I've had such a hard day today, Rob. You know, I'm about to go to sales and back. You know, it's just, you know, it can be too much, can't it? I was looking at him thinking, you don't know you're born, you cunt. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to get on a building site and try a bit of collar, like fucking hard work. You've been out for lunch, you've had to drive you know what I mean? For me, it was like a blessing at the time. So, but then when I got headhunted by the Germans, that was a good changing point, because he was into NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and he run this company like no other. And the CEO would come out with me, and when this geezer turned over 100 mil a year or something like that at the time back then, and he'd come out with me, and I'd watch him do sales, and he'd give me techniques, and I used to be in awe of him. Like, I remember thinking, this geezer's like Darren Brown. Like, I remember sitting there one day in a sales meeting. Everyone at the other, like, I was the director, some like architect or whatever, all their top men in the company, there were 4 or 5 of them. And me and Tilo sitting on the other side of the room, and all of a sudden, all of them at once just went, just leant forward like that, simultaneously. And I remember thinking, what's he up to? And I didn't have no idea what this geezer, but he could just like adapt rapport people. I didn't know what he was doing. And he used to teach me little tricks and that. And as I got a bit educated with some of them, I was like...
What do you mean? They were all sucked into what he was saying?
And he taught me after. What he done is, he said, now, what I learned in hypnosis later is hyper-focusing is trance. So when you're on the road and you drive, and you don't know where you've been, it's because you're hyper-focusing visually. Or when you watch football on the telly, yeah, you know, sometimes you get up, some might see a man get up, one of your pals get up for a wee. And as he goes to get up for a wee, they could score, they get into the box and they get up, they freeze. That's trance. Because you're hyper-focusing. And then if they miss, they go, and then they move on and carry on walking, right? But we go into trance all day, every day. Right? That's just one form. Trance is hyper-focusing on one sense. You have 5 senses: you're hearing, seeing, smell, taste, and feelings. So, like when you have a massage sometimes, like you can go into like a trance because you're just focusing on the feeling. Auditory. So what he was doing is he would go, so as he's got the crowd talking, to make them go into trance, because they want to get all their attention, so they're listening to him. He told me what it was. He said, I just bring my voice down. I went, that's it. He went, yeah. You go, so I have this amazing product here, and I really think that all of you could do. And I'll just see him all go, and he would just bring Laura and them in for these little simple techniques. And
was that a change in level of voice? Like, was he speaking normally
just whisper,
and then he brought it down?
Just whisper, yeah. And as soon as he brought them down and started whispering, got them to the importance about what he was, about what he was about to say. And as he went into it, he'd go, I really feel that you guys could do something special with this. And because they're on the other side of the room, they're going, he'd managed the volume so they had to sort of, could just about hear it. But they'd wouldn't even know they're doing it. Yeah. But it was all 4 of them at once. And I used to think, what's this geezer on? And he blew me away. His name was Tilo Weinemann. And from Weiner, the Marquisa. I used to work with him, yeah. Deutsche company. So I had to fly back and forth to Germany and all. So I got into this learning, and I was like, I become addicted. Then I started watching Derren Brown, NLP stuff, and thinking, I want to manipulate people for more money. That was the truth. People think it's business. I come from fuck all, mate. I had my little Bob, and I went, I want to take him to Disneyland. I never had fuck all, didn't go anywhere, no holidays like that, you know what I mean? We go to my dad's mate's caravan once and that twice, and then again, like Bognor. But my dad used to go to him as a little kid, when you get old, don't worry about holidays. When you get to 10, I'll take you to Disneyland. And fucking, it took me nowhere. But, so with my kids, that was a big, important thing to me that I take them nice places and that, you know? So I remember thinking, I've got to get for my bonuses, because I was missing certain personality types, like detail people. You know, you'd get people that would be into the big picture and other people that are into the details. So they'd go, I'd look at all the glossy magazine and look at all the pictures of the products. We'll go straight to the back and look at the site, little black and white drawings of the screws and the brackets and shit. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you can fit that up there. And, you know, that was just their way, right? So I wanted to learn about people, how to manipulate people for more money, so I'll get more bonuses because I had a chance to earn good money, take my kids away and a better life for themselves. That's how it started. So I went and done a diploma course in NLP, first of all. It's 4 days in the Cotswolds, and fuck me, did I not expect to get from that what I did. They taught me techniques. It's hard to explain on here fastly, but I've done a lot of work. To learn this stuff, you've got to do it on yourself. So I was quite blown away, and it sort of stripped me back from just the money, you know, and understanding myself, and the curiosity of the ways I could be thinking, and which I have been thinking, just in 4 days, was mind-blowing, yeah? And I lost a bit of insecurity in myself, and I used to think I was thick and stupid, and when I finished that 4 days, I remember thinking, I ain't fucking stupid. I remember really believing it all, thinking, I can't believe that's how it processes. And then I become addicted. And then I started studying. I done my practice, you know, as my master practice, as my trainer. I started training McGilligan, Bandler, Robert Dilts when he come over. Like everyone, I was like ADHD. So once I liked something.
Who are these people? Right?
These like all the elite of the NLP world, okay. Neuro-linguistic programming. Yeah. But they're like the elite of California. Yeah, okay. So I studied with all the best, yeah. And far and beyond what most people would do. I just went really into depth, looked at the modelling side. A lot of people learn NLP and don't understand the modelling. Now, if you know Anthony Robbins, you've heard of him, Tony Robbins. Oh, Tony Robbins, sorry. He's one of the biggest life coaches in the world, and he's the biggest life coach in the world. He did learn NLP, learn modelling, and he makes his own skills, because you learn how to process the mind. So you can learn, I can find someone who's you get a footballer who plays for a pub, you get a footballer that's like semi-pro, and you get a pro, and then at pro you still get the elite level, which is the Premier League player. Now there'd be a different mindset in that kid than there will all the others. So you only model the elite. You'd only go to, you might have 5 or 6 levels of higher standards, but you only go to the elite level and you model them. So you model people who had phobias for 10 years, 5 years, 2 years. What did they all do the same unconsciously? So I started they look at the processes. So through that I started understanding the unconscious processes, which I'll go into later. But back to studying with these guys. I studied with a guy called Robert Dilts. That was a big life-changing moment. So by the way, by this point already, I did learn that I didn't want Nan to feel the way I did. I brought up feeling insecure, not good enough, thick, stupid, not feeling any confidence in myself, like a fake, really. to actually changing that round. And when I started learning these skills, I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to fucking help other people. I want no one else to feel like how I was. It's just a buzz to be able to change people's lives. And I got into it. And the point of the day comes when Robert Dilts went to me. I had him on 1-to-1, and he went to me, what do you want from life? I'm in my late 20s now. He went, what do you want? What would you like? I went, if you could have anything, what would you have? I went, what would make you happy? I think the question was, what would make you happy? I said, Ferrari, an house in California, an house in Australia. Then what would make you happy? I don't know, I bought my kids' private school, my mum and dad an house, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all my family. Then what would you do? If you had anything you want to make you happy, what would you do? And I kept going. In the end, I'm thinking, I was getting a bit wound up, because I think he's fucking winding me up here, because he just wouldn't stop asking the same question. But what I didn't realise what he was doing is he took me back to a place inside where I'd got my imagination to sort of future pace me to having all the cars, all the houses, all the watches, everything that you could imagine, yeah. And then he got me to a place and went, well, now what would make you happy? I went, what do you mean? Because I can't think of anything else to have. He went, well, now what would make you happy? What would make you smile? How would you be able to smile now? And I'll tell you what, it was a deep question, because I remember really looking in myself, thinking, and this is on my kid's life, I remember thinking, I want to make other people happy. I make myself look like an idiot to see you laugh, yeah? I've come out of loads of times I've been over the West End when I was young, given my last £20 to an homeless person and walked back to Bermondsey. I've called myself everything under the sun, so I haven't got anything in the car, so I'll be knackered at 5 in the morning. But you know, yeah, I think, fuck, what have I done here, you div? But, you know, that's, I am, and I'm that person that always put other people's feelings in front of me, which ain't good in business, but it's good in other ways. Everything has its ups and downs. Yeah, so when I got to that point, I knew what I wanted to do. I thought, this is it. And I went dramatically, left my job, left my work. My mailman came to me, you fucking div, what you doing? You're on a good job there. But I remember thinking, I was ADHD over the top, to be fair. I left myself right in it. But I just thought, well, how can I be teaching people this stuff? Because I was doing therapy on the side for my job. You know, people were coming around, doing a session here, session there, as I was learning and getting into it. But well, how can I be teaching people to create their life? And I'm not even doing it myself, I'm staying. Because I couldn't go any further in the sales. I'd gone as far as I went to Germany and learned to speak German. There wasn't anything I could either. I'd already smashed it, yeah. And I thought, this is what I want to do, and that's what I've done. And that's when everything started to change and the learnings started.
What age was that?
I don't even know, late 20s, I don't know, early 30s. Well, I've been doing it since I was 20s, but I think early 30s I started going on my own.
So you started, what was you doing, having people around your house?
Yeah, people around my house, yeah. Mostly come around my house.
Practising?
I like paying clients, but I'd have it as a touch on the side.
Yeah.
Imagine being from Bermondsey. I remember my mates going to me, I see, like that, because I used to do hypnosis shows, right? It's like ruining you. You had to take it on the chin, because no one, like now everyone's talking about mental health since 2000, since COVID, but back in the 90s, or whatever, noughties, or even teens, early teens, whatever. Yeah. I don't know what years it was, I can't remember, but imagine your pals like from Bermondsey seeing you as a therapist. So like, what you do? Oh, absolutely, used to get slaughtered. Yeah. But now they send their family and friends to me and their partners, and do you know what I mean? Years later, it's good. But at the time, I remember getting it. I remember when my mate's a black cab driver going to me, like funny though, it's funny. But I remember thinking, well, I'm earning more money on the side than what you earn on the fucking black cab. You know, at the time I was smashing it.
That shows your strength of character. That you were willing to do that and go through that to get to where you are today. Yeah,
I got, cool. The thing is, it's a lonely journey doing what you, like your path that you're meant to do is going to be lonely, and people don't want to go down that lonely path, so they end up just getting 9 to 5s or sticking to not really finding their thing. And I think you got to be prepared to take. I'll let that go over my head. You know what I mean? I've lost my dad. I've fucking even before I lost my dad. You know, when you look at the upbringings you've had and the things you've never had, and I think, what you got to lose? I never had nothing anyway, so nothing to lose. So I used to think, well, fuck it.
I hear you. Do you think there's a big fear of where we come from? There's a big fear of ridicule of people when you do try and break the mould and you do something different, like you're 100%. Doing. Like you're saying, people just take the piss out of you, and it stops people from doing what they actually want to do.
And it's the reason is people run down, and humanity's been doing it forever, and it will continue doing it. They'll run down saying they don't understand.
Yeah.
So if you're
ignorance, right?
Yeah, well, I want to say it's unknowledge. They don't know, so they feel insecure and stupid, so they'll run you down. Not consciously, they don't even realise they're doing that. But you know, if you're into football and there's 10 of your mates there, and someone comes in and goes, I just done some, I don't know, I played table tennis earlier. It was me, shut up, table tennis. You're watching a proper man's game, you get all that, didn't you?
Yeah,
no one means it at the time, but they don't understand table tennis, don't play it, so they can't relate to it, they can't have any rapport to it, so you mug it off because you don't understand it. It's just human nature. Yeah. And it ain't, the trick is, like, that's never going to stop. You just got to not take it personally. And the problem is, people do. I take things personal. I'm like human. Sometimes with my ADHD, I can get hypersensitive. So some things you can ruin me. I don't give a shit. And you can say something little, and it play on my mind for days. It's weird, and it could really affect me. But you know, everyone, it affects you. But the thing is, you just got to move on. And I think when you find your vision of what you want to do, you've got to live into that in your mind, like delusionally. Do you know what I mean? I remember thinking I'm UK's #1 unconscious mind therapist, and you just have people to think, who the fuck do you think he is? I just think, well, you'll see. Do you know what I mean? And I used to say it before I had even the skills of being it, to be honest. You know, in my mind, that was what I'd be visualising. I thought, there ain't been no one since Paul McKenna, and I'm going to be the next Paul McKenna. But I'm going to be better than him because he's not one of us. I'm going to stay who I am. I'm going to swear. I'm going to cockney. I'm going to stick to who I am. Every time I tried changing who I was, I looked like a dick anyway. It didn't work out for me. So I thought, fuck it, I'll just be real. And the minute I'd done that, things started moving. And then people go from running you down, taking a piss, to admiring you and being proud of you being their pal. Some of them. Some of them don't clap when you're winning. That is scary. It's heartbreaking sometimes when you love someone as your pals and you know, when they're always in front of you, then you start doing well and they don't clap.
Silence is deafening, right?
Yeah, and they don't know it hurts, but it does. You think, fuck me, I've always supported you. I always clap when you're there. I'm always saying how good you're doing things. And when it's me, they take the piss and they don't say anything. Or if they do say something, it's like a little jokey dig and you think,
backhanded compliment.
Really? Yeah. And that hurts a bit sometimes when you realise, you know, how people are with you, mate.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of jealousy there, or a little bit. People don't mind seeing you get onto a point, but they don't want to see you go too far. They don't want to see you go better than them. Not everyone.
Some people are fantastic. Love it. I've got great friends that support me and buzz more than me. Sometimes I do something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I do something. My pals are doing really well. I was speaking to a pal today. He's got something coming up the weekend. It's amazing. I was like fucking buzzing for him. Yeah, like literally.
You want your mates to crack on, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So tell us about what you do now, Rob. About the unconscious mind therapy. So is it a sort of, is it a hypnotism? Is it a life coaching? What is it that you do?
What I do is unconscious mind therapy. So if you look at psychotherapy, counselling, majority of therapists look at the content in your problem, yeah? So they'll look why you're fucked up, what went on, tell me the details, you know, how did you feel, what was going on back then, you know? And it's always sort of about understanding why you're fucked up, yeah? Which don't always help, because you can understand that you're a fucking mess, then what do you do with it? I'm fucked. Then what? Yeah, I understand you are. And then their answer is, well, now you understand, stop doing it. You know what I mean? That's basically it, a lot of it, not all of it. But so it's not slagging them off, because when it comes to like criminal psychology, understanding like are people going to make their next move, you know, it's good. Like if you've got a fucking nonce, you want to know how he's thinking so you can go and catch the cunt. Like we all want that to happen. It's good for ADHD. Good for it's got lots of good stuff. And it's good for the childhood work. Psychotherapy childhood work's really painful. I recommend everyone should do it because you don't even know yourself. Because what you think's normal is just normal until they start going, well, it ain't. You're like, really? And unraveling it starts to make sense. I think the childhood work's a long year or two sort of work you can do. Even months.
What is that about going into your own childhood?
Yeah. And understanding how you felt and processing stuff and unraveling.
So the stuff that you thought was normal.
Yeah. It never is in any family. Because it doesn't matter if your family is hard, you ain't got fuck all, then you've got to struggle and you might feel insecure that way. And other people can have a dad that's too loving and too soft, and then you struggle, you get bullied at school and you become so. There's always going to be, I don't care what family you're from, you're going to need balance. You need to find that understanding of the opposite. It don't matter who you are, no one's going to get out of it, and anyone that thinks they have is delusional. But it ain't a bad thing, it's just good. It's a good thing to go and understand yourself more and understand why you process stuff. It allows you to stop doing the same mistakes, because 95% of what we do at 35 is subconscious programs. So going back to learning childhood, that's good work they do, right? It's painful, it's back in the past, but that is good, unravelling that is, I think we should learn that. But when it comes to anxiety, depression, success, phobias, all that sort of stuff they're shit. It's fucking useless. Like, I don't see anyone, like, all they do is giving you tablets. Talk about your past and give you tablets. Now, you can't focus on what you don't want in your life and get what you want. So you can't keep going talking about anxiety and expect to be confident. How can you go speak about anxiety once a week or twice a week for a counsellor for an hour, 2 hours a week and expect to get confidence from it? You can't, like, eat food and focus on food and become thin. You can't focus on drugs and become clean. Do you know what I'm saying? So the whole direction of thought's wrong when it comes to anxiety, depression, phobia, successful thinking and becoming a better mind. Like, really, ain't just about removing your anxiety. You've got to have therapy to be able to move forward, and that's what I do. So I look at the processes to the mind, the unconscious process. So in anxiety, there's a process that everyone does the same. In depression, there's a process that everyone does the same. In success, there's a process of thinking that everyone does the same. And it don't matter about the content then. The reason why you're depressed is your dad's died, your girlfriend's left you, you've lost your job, you've got no money, you've been evicted. I don't give a fuck what it is. The process of thinking is the same. Anxiety is taking a bad past experience. See, let's get into this. Psychotherapy say, and counsellors say, depression's the past, anxiety is the future. You have to live in the here and now. It's generalising. Generalising's no good. It's bollocks, to be honest, Dean, because your brain makes 58,000 to 68,000 thoughts a day. So if you ain't creating a future thought, your brain then your brain can only, consciously, you have to create future thoughts. Your brain can't do it on its own. The unconscious can only go back into your hard drive, because your brain is just a record of the past, from the day you were born to who you are today. It goes back into your hard drive, and it will think of something from your past, good or bad, right? Now, that's a depressive state, because if you think of something in the past, if you think of how good it was back then, if I got a picture of myself at 18 and went, mate, I know I look good back then, and I'm smiling consciously, right? And I mean what I say because I'm reminiscing, I did look good, but I know I look good back then, Dean. Unconsciously, I'm getting a low self-worth emotion. The mind and body's on the two different programs, because if I said to you, Dean, I look good back then while I'm smiling, unconsciously, what am I saying about myself in the moment?
Yeah, you don't feel like that now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had so much fun back then. I don't have as much fun now. I love the boys' holidays. It's fucking boring to go away with my old mum and the kids. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're not aware of that, because no one teaches about the unconscious. We all had cognitive behavioural therapy, conscious, because no one wants you to adapt to your emotions, because that's where the real success and change, because we'll all stand up and say, fuck you, and we become strong. And we start to creating the goals that we wanted. So we're led away from that, which I'll go into later. So if your brain thinks of the past, you think of a record of the past, you think of a good memory, it reminds you that it's not as good now. And if you think of a bad memory, like my dad dying, taking his last breath, I'll bring back that emotion, and if I start visualising that and remembering it, I'll start bringing back that emotion in the moment. So I'm bringing back this trauma from fucking 14 years ago or whatever, sitting right here with you now.
So leave it there.
Leave it there, yeah. And you have to go through the grieving stage. There's nothing. But I mean, I think about my dad, but I think of when he was alive now, not when he was dead. And I focus on my kids in the future. So you got to keep moving into. The more you can put your mind here and now to the future, the happier you'll be, because the brain can only be happy when you're in that zone. It can't be happy when you look back emotionally properly, because if you look back how good it was, your mind's not as good now. So you're smiling, but yeah, I wish we could go back there. It's probably the next thing you're going to say. Yeah, I wish it was like that now. Or if you look back at something traumatic, you bring back the trauma. So that's depression. When your thoughts go from here and now to the past, here and now to the past. So I've got ADHD and dyslexic. I'm good at removing all the bollocks and bullshit and getting down to seeing what's going on underneath. And you can think about your dad dying, you go back there, you think about your ex-partner you've been split up with for 6 years, you keep thinking of her. The minute you think of her, it reminds you that you was in love with her and she loved you, reminds you that she don't now. And then it reminds you that you ain't got her anymore. So either way, you're fucked, yeah? So depression is when your thoughts go from here and now to the past, the process, what I've discovered. Taking a bad past experience and throwing it in the future's anxiety. That ain't a future thought, the psychotherapists tell you. Psychotherapists say, yeah, the future's anxiety. No, it ain't. Taking a bad past learning and putting it into the future is anxiety. So if you was robbed on a bus Next time you see a bus, you bring back the trauma of the event and think, fuck, I'm a bit worried about getting on there in case that person's on there again. Yeah? Now, anxiety in its right place is a good thing. It ain't even a fucking mental health problem, because if you didn't have anxiety as a human race, you wouldn't have survived. If I was a caveman and come out, my mate John get eaten by a fucking saber-toothed tiger, I've never seen a saber-toothed tiger before because there weren't no books or no one spoke, I'd climb a fucking tree shaking. Next time I see a saber-toothed tiger, my body would remember that fear and make me run into flight mode. So I survived, yeah?
So we need a bit of that to get us through.
100%, Dane. Yeah. We need everyone. We need it. So if someone knocks you for money, you don't want to lend them the same. Go next week like a div. You'll think you're going to be anxious that he's going to fuck you again. So it's not bad, is it?
It's a survival instinct.
It's a survival instinct, mate. In its right place, in its wrong place, it fucks your brain up. Because of the size of the neocortex, we can bring the stress hormone by thought alone. So we can get into an habit of replaying a video like on a screen of what happened to us, and then that becomes, we're just living in this constant pain and suffering of what happened. So someone's, anxiety is taking a bad past experience and throwing it in the future. The more you run that program, the less you do till you get, people can't even go out the house, they end up with agoraphobia, because they see if they go out the house, they experience pain like they did before. So then people get anxiety about the anxiety in the end. They forget why they got it, because they end up getting anxious about getting anxious. Because I know if I get in that place, I get anxious. They forget why they even got anxious to get in that place. That could have happened when they were 7, but they don't fucking remember because they're too busy getting anxious about the anxiety now. So they're always looking into the future of the memory of the last time they were in this place. So then they're programming it.
How do you get them out of that?
I'll tell you that in a sec. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you that from the next circle. So that was the anxious circle. So I'll tell you a story, and this is an anxiety, truthful story for me. This is a good way to explain anxiety. I was on after 9/11, right? I don't know what I was, 23, something like that. 22, 23. After 9/11, the following year I went on holiday, right? And I got on an aeroplane. And this geezer got on with a rucksack. I took my little peanut brain at the time, took this learning and thought, fucking hell, terrorist. Right, so have they let him on with a, with a rucksack, right? So now I'm thinking 9/11 before I've seen put it up there. He's got tan skin, so anyway, the planes took off. I'm up there, and every now and again, I'm on the plane, looking down the aisle, thinking if someone to get up and pull a big sword out. Yeah, no, I'm on 90. I'm in the flight now. Yeah. So anyway, I remember getting up, having some food, and this thought would not leave me, because your brain goes in fight, flight, or freeze, right? I weren't in nowhere to flight because I'm fucking up 30,000 feet in the air. The freeze lasted for not too long, and I'm about to start. We were out there for 4 fucking hours. So the only other mode my brain went into was fight. So what I was thinking is survival mode. I had this little tin of Coke, right? And them little parties, man, do you remember them? I ripped that open, had a plastic knife, and thought, got the knife. Well, if he gets up, gas got to go through his eye. That's the only chance, and I've got this. I put that in my hand, right? I'm really being serious. I'm feeling anxious. Anyway, he's got up, undone his locker thing above his head. I pinged the belt off, things gone up. I'm sitting there, but I used to box, yeah. Before you have a fight, you get this adrenaline, you start shaking nearly, your adrenaline goes. I've got this thing, I'm looking down the fucking aisle, I'm looking behind me, watching him. He gets this bag out. I think this is it, they're going to go. He pulls a book out, zips it up, puts it back up, sits down and starts reading the book. I was sitting in the chair like that, my legs were gone, everything. The delusion after. When we got off, I see him with his passport. He was obviously Greek. We're going to fucking Corfu. We didn't know high-rising buildings to do anything, you know what I mean? And I remember watching him getting his... I remember thinking, you idiot. But that's what the brain does. The brain will create hypervigilance, especially if you're from a violent area and all you've ever seen is that way of thinking, and you're always thinking what trouble's next, When I moved out from Bermondsey to Sidcup, I'd go in a pub in Chislehurst. I'd walk in the pub, I'd watch it where you could smoke back then. I'd just look where the ashtrays were in case it went off, and I'd see the geezers were a lot louder out there because it was a lot more safer. So the geezers would be loud in the pub, and I'd see the fire extinguishers, and I'd see all the exits out of the pub. Like before I could even enjoy myself, I'd be paranoid as fuck. But yeah, that took time to settle down. But that's an anxious thought. Yeah. Health anxiety is when a woman sees her little girl, has seen her nan die of cancer, and then a few months later, the little girl's got a cough. And it sounds like Nanny's cough. Oh my God, she takes the fear from her mum dying, puts it into a kid and rushes the kid up the hospital. Get on his knees, she needs a scan, doctor. Gives what's nothing wrong with her chest, she's fine. Goes back next week, can do her art. All of a sudden, she develops this phobia of health anxiety in herself and her kids. Poor little kid starts developing a phobia because she thinks something wrong with her, and nothing wrong with the kid.
A bit of hypochondria.
Yeah, which is anxiety, it's health anxiety. Yeah. So that's what anxiety is. So depression is when your thoughts go from here and now to the past, here and now to the past. So I think about my dad alive, reminds me that he's dead. I think about him dying, just brings back a traumatic experience. Anxiety is taking a bad past experience or learning. So it hasn't got to happen to you. Like, that never happened to me, 9/11. I watched it on telly. So I took that learning and I threw it in the future. And you can do that with yourself or someone you love who will cause you anxiety. Now, when you're in the present moment and you create a future thought, that's creation, that's human being, that's what we're designed to do, which is all that was taken away from us through the schooling system. But we're designed to be in the here and now and think, right, we need a door on that house. Animals can still get in, let's build a door. So how do we do that? And they cut a tree down and they make a fucking door, right? At some point in history, that's what happened, yeah? I want to go on holiday. You have to think about where you're going to go to. Basically, in this zone is where creation lives and your happiness lives. If you think about when you first meet a girl and you're looking forward to seeing her, yeah? You can't wait to see him, and all that week you're thinking about it. When you get a new car, what happens when you get a new car? You buy a new car, you're waiting to go and get it, you pick it up, you can't wait, yeah? When you start a new business, when you do a podcast, everything gets made twice. It gets first inside your mind, and then it gets created outside here in your reality. Like, that's come from your brain, and I think you said you and your missus.
Yeah.
So that's a blinding logo, as I said, as I scroll through, it pops out at you. Like, that's a creation, right? That got made twice. That wouldn't have been there if it weren't for your mind, yeah? So, in this zone is where happiness lives. So,
creating
a goal.
Creating a goal, looking at the future
and
for good
focusing,
things to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And yes, seeing them already as if they're happened. Yeah. Not trying to figure out the journey, because the schooling system teaches we're lineal thinkers. Like, you go to school, you go to college, you get paid in your job, you pay your mortgages, you pay your everything's lineal thinking. But we're organic. We're not lineal beings. We're organic beings. So none of us are built to go that way. That's the training. That's the brainwashing. And we need emotional intelligence, which I talk to you about after, which you get from vision, is emotional intelligence. And if you notice at school, stop daydreaming, get on with your work. Anything to do with vision is knocked out of us. The all-seeing eye, the evil eye. Like the powers above are for many years making anything to do with our visual sense evil, bad, secretive, and it's deceitful. And the reason being is that vision creates emotion. And they don't want you to have emotion, because that's strength and courage and, all the things that you need, confidence. That's what comes from that. So they don't want you to be academic, because academic, you'll do as you're told. You'll live in fear and you'll overcome problems. You're focused on, the more academic someone is, if people want to believe this or not, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. If someone's really academic, they see more problems than everything. If you tell I've just done this, they'll go, well, what about that? They'll find you. And they don't mean in the arm, they're trying to help you. But the more academic someone is, the more problems they see to solve, which means they can live in a lot of fear by the end of it,
So you think the school system's set up for us to leave school, get a job, work for the man, pay your taxes, keep your nut down, and that's it. So they don't want you thinking outside the box,
100%.
Following your own path, being
100%.
creative, being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
100%, that's the fact. That's the fact of it, is that 100%. Because stop daydreaming. The vision's the most important thing. Now, why is vision so important? Why is that vision at the end of that goal? Well, I'm saying there, you've got a circle there, here and now to the past, here and now to the future. Why is that end goal so important? Because the emotion you get from it. So let me explain to you. Words are the language to the mind. Feelings are the language to the body. You can't speak feelings. Try it. So if you go to yourself, well, I want to be confident today. You don't feel any fucking different. Do you know what? I'm going to get up and speak today. I want to feel really confident about it. Or I want to stop being anxious. I want to stop being anxious. Do you think your body has any idea what you're talking about? Yeah, feelings can't hear you. I must talk to that fucking table. I want to stop being anxious. It can't fucking hear you. Ears are for your words, for your mind. Feelings, the language to feelings are feelings, right? So the vision is the translator. So if you come from another country and we can't speak English together, we need a fucking interpreter in the room. Tell him I want 15 grand off the haulage. He'll talk to you, you'll talk back. Here you go, bollocks. He said you ain't having that. And we can negotiate through this interpreter because we can't speak each other's language. Well, words can't speak feelings. So what we have to do is have an interpreter, the vision. So when you say to yourself, I want to be confident today, if you close your eyes and you see yourself at work standing up and talking out, You start to think, yeah, it feels good. You open your eyes, like you'll feel that emotion of that, and you'll feel, yeah, that feels good. So you've got a little bit more confidence now to do it, but you're unconscious to go, yeah, but last time you never done that. The analytical mind will come up again. So you have to go fuck off and visualise it again and put the emotion over it. Yeah, and then it'll play. You have to keep doing this until the emotion becomes stronger than the voice. And the voice goes, "Oh, I got you. I feel safe now." You have to train the body to feel safe. The minute it feels safe, your inhibitions go. People going, "Whoa, I didn't give a shit," because I already felt safe. I was already visualising at that point while I was learning. So when people did take the piss out of me and all that, I didn't give a fuck.
So if you got a goal, what you're saying is visualise you're already there.
Yeah,
you're already there.
You're already there. Don't try to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
No one's that clever.
Yeah.
No one is that clever. Build it and they will come. What you've done. Yeah. You don't know what the fucking conversation is going to go like today, but you know you get when you got an idea, boom, and you go with it. That's the way to do it. Is to have a vision of who's it going to be, what's it going to be, and what it's going to be like, and just run with it.
Don't worry too much about the journey. You see the vision.
The journey, you will figure that out because. That you will worry about the journey when you need to, but that ain't yet. You have to wait to develop the emotional intelligence to feel that it's already happened. So Muhammad Ali, for instance, said, "I'm the greatest. I'm the next heavyweight champion in the world." When he was 18, he wins the Olympics in Rome. He wasn't even a fucking professional fighter at that point. I mean, a pro fighter. He was an amateur at the Olympics. I'm the greatest. Ali was visualising. I've watched every documentary. I love anything with good mindset, and he's one of the elite mindset. When he was 12 and he was in the gym, he said there weren't TVs back then like there was in the interview I saw, probably like the 80s, late 70s. He said there weren't TVs in the gym. He said when you'd be in the gym skipping, I'd turn the TV on in my head, I'd be knocking people out, holding up a WBA belt, buy my mum and dad a house. He said, and I'd go back home and I'd go for a run in the evening for an hour and a half through the woods. And as I'm running, I'd turn my TV in my head on and I'd see myself knocking people out, doing my moves, buy my mum and dad a house, holding up a WBA belt every day. So he was visualising being world champion since he was 12. So 6 years later when he's in the Olympics, he wanted in the vibration of wanting to win. He was expecting to win because he was already visualising being the greatest. He was already visualising down that path, you know. So when you look at all of the elite, Conor McGregor, Muhammad Ali, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, what do they call these people? Visionaries. They don't go, oh, they're good fucking lineal self-talkers, them, do they? Fucking visionaries. They don't fucking say they're good self-talkers.
They're visionaries. They're seeing it.
Elon Musk with the things he's doing, and people can't wait to run him down for doing it. What are you doing? You know, that's just, you know, evolution is thoughts and our ancestors' thoughts. So in this zone of here and now to the future where the good feelings live, everything gets made twice. First inside your mind, then outside here in your reality. So if you look around this room now, see if you can find me anything in this room that never started as a thought, except for what comes from nature and the earth in its original form. So except for like trees, plants, cats, dogs, wind, rain, sand, snow, humans, oxygen. See if you can find anything in this room that never started as a thought. Nothing, right? How about if I give you the inside and outside of every building in London and Essex? You have the inside and outside of every building, except for what comes from nature and the earth in its original form. Yeah. There ain't nothing. There's not one thing. It's weird. Like you're wearing a thought. You're sitting on a thought. We're talking into a thought. You know, that fucking image is a thought. The TV that made it was, I mean, someone visualised the fucking TV before there was a TV. Now, if that ain't creative, I mean, how does that work? How did anyone visualise a TV before there was a TV? Because the TV was only in their head before that.
Yeah, of course.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything gets made twice. Like thoughts become things. The podcast was a thought.
Are we our thoughts?
We are our thoughts, yeah, 100% we are.
So it's so important how we think
what
about
you think
ourselves.
about, you become.
Yeah.
This is why predominantly you got to think about. See, people don't want to let that old them go. You can't move forward thinking about who you was yesterday, and be someone new tomorrow. So, fuck who you are today. I say to my clients, they send me the middle finger emoji. Go, fuck you, Robert. Fuck you, babe. Like as a joke, because who you are today is your thoughts from the past. Who you are tomorrow is your thoughts from now. So fuck who you've been. We've all done things that we feel shamed and stupid for, and we have to first admit what our problems are. If I'm an arsehole, I've got to admit I'm an arsehole. If you're fat, you've got to admit you're fat. There's no good fucking feeling sorry for yourself about it or reasons why. Fuck that. You're fat. You're an arsehole. You've been neglecting someone you love. Whatever it is, minute you do that, and then you can start working on the future. And once you understand what your problem is, don't focus on the problem again. You visualize the solution. You visualize the outcome of that being solved, not even the solution of doing it. How it looks when you are like that. You've got to focus on that. And then you'll start feeling within the chemical boundaries of that person, because the biggest learning I've learned and discovered in my learnings of unconscious mind therapy is that we can't think greater than our emotion. Now, your unconscious mind is your body. That is your feelings. Yeah? Everything has to change. I don't give a fuck if you use the conscious mind, the subconscious program techniques or unconscious techniques. What has to change for you to be different is the unconscious mind, the emotion. If you're scared of flying, you have to change the feeling, not the thought, because you can already think it's stupid me being on the plane.
So just coming back to that, I like that. So you can't think greater than your emotions.
No
So
one can.
you saying if our emotion's sad, then we can't think greater than that. We can't
There's
find
never
happiness.
been a human being in 2 million years, while experiencing the emotion of sadness, who could make a happy thought. Never. Never happened in history.
You've got to change it yourself.
You could, or things can change, people can help you change. I mean, your environment can change your feelings. Just think about how your feelings get manipulated, how much work we need to do. You know, you can see someone in the street. You've got them beat pods you grew up with. It was a right fucking string. There was a kid round our way. It would kiss a pound. I'll give it back to you later. Every day, kiss a joint. Like one of them ponces. Every day you'd see him. You'd avoid him. You'd walk down the street and your face. You feel the colour of your face drain. You think, oh, he's got me. And because you know he ain't leaving you either, he's stringing you for the rest of the night with your pals. And do you know that fella? And then you get the other fella, your other pal, who you see across the road. As soon as you see him, you just light up and start laughing, because it just makes you laugh and just feel good all the time. You've read that?
Yeah.
You get pals who've got your back.
Yeah.
Like, people change the way you feel. The environment changes the way you feel. You know, if I come in your house and I moved your kettle from one end of the kitchen to the other, it changed the way you'll feel. You'll think, well, who's fucking moved that? It'd irritate you. So for about a week. And then you'll start getting used to it. And a month later, I'll put it back. You go, well, you put it back there for? I'm just getting used to that. Because we're creatures of habit. And we don't want to be a creature of habit. We need to create new programs. And we can only think how we feel. So through the visualization, by thinking, right, what do I want? I want to be more confident. Okay, I see myself doing that. You start doing the neurological software, like a computer program starts to install itself. You start to think, yeah, I look good there. I feel good. At first, you still might be sheepish. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again. I see myself in all the newspapers like I did. I see myself doing, and I used to visualise all that. And when it comes true, you're like, yeah. It ain't like you won the lottery. You don't think, yes, I've done it now. When you visualised it, because the time it manifests, you felt it so many times, it feels like, no, it was more like, yeah, I know this feeling. You don't feel excited. You sort of blend in with a bit of like, yeah, I'm always on the next thing. Who's that actor, Matthew McConaughey? Do you know, I can't pronounce his name. He done a story, it's on YouTube. He done an award speech and he speaks about his hero. Well, before he was famous, someone went, who's your hero, Matt? And he went, I don't know, let me come back to you on that. And he said, I went away and I thought about it. A week later, he said, who's your hero? He said, it's me. I'm my hero. In like 2 years from now, and I'm doing this and X, Y, and Z. He goes, okay. Anyway, 2 years later, he wins the BAFTA or whatever it is, or one of the big awards in America, Golden Globes or something. And he goes, Math, that's amazing. You're your hero now. You've done it. He went, no, pal, I'm not even close. My hero's now another 2-3 years away, and he's doing X, Y, and Z. He went, the moral of the story is I'm never going to catch my hero. But I'm okay with that, because it always gives me someone to chase. And this is what you're going to see with any of the elite, your Michael Jordans. They always want to be better. They always see themselves in their mind better than what they was. They weren't good enough. Some people coming from bad childhoods, not feeling good enough, feeling unworthy, is their driver that made them fucking the elite.
Yeah.
Because it made them create a vision. But you ain't got to go through trauma to create vision. You can do it in happiness and being content. If you create the visions of your goals and you live and you keep seeing it and you start to experience that emotion, you start to think within the chemical boundaries of someone who's a world champion, like Ali. Muhammad Ali already felt like a world champion. That's why I'm the greatest. And say he won't be arrogant as if he was lying. He fucking tell you the truth. When Conor McGregor predicted to knock out Aldo, it'd be a first round knockout. My word, everyone thought you're off your head. The guy ain't lost a fight in 10 years. He's a savage. And he predicted it. If you go on YouTube, there's a link where you can see McGregor saying, the night before the fight, that he's going to knock him out with a left hook, You know, I see his right hand twitching. When he releases that right hand, I won't be there. I'm going to create traps in dead space, and he'll step into that dead space. And when he does, I won't be there. And that's it. And then you see him in the green room. There's a video of him in the green room before the fight, practicing the move and the left hook. He goes out there, 17 seconds. Aldo lets the right hand go, boom, left hook out. Exactly what he predicted. And
visualization.
But it's the emotional intelligence that you're creating. You're feeling like you've already done it. So your unconscious mind's looking for it. You program that what's the word for that? Like you're programmed for that to happen. What's the word? Preparation. And when that choice is there, your unconscious does it before you even get a chance to think about it.
You've already seen it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a study years ago, and I might get this a little bit wrong, but from what I remember, they did a study in a college in America with a basketball team, and they sort of split them into three. And what they did was, one group did no training or visualization, one group just trained physically, like shooting hoops, etc., and one group just did visualization, no physical training. And the group that did neither came last, no good. The group that did the physical and the group that did the visualization were basically on par.
On par, yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I've seen them studies as well.
That's madness,
people
right?
learning piano, practicing in their mind. A lot of people learn a scale and they'll practice it in their mind, and then they'll get up the next day and they'll just be able to do it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you can actually...
You learn skills. I'm 1,000,000%. If you think about, I work with, I've had like world champion fighter and a ranking, got to WBO world title. I've had, Kevin Greenwood's a good friend of mine. He's a bare knuckle fighter. And on his first fight, I worked with him. And what I said is, right, okay, every fighter visualises knocking someone out, right? Everyone. It's easy. Everyone does that. When I want to see times of struggle. Let's think, where's the struggle in the ring on the ropes, yeah? So I said to him, we're going to be visualising getting out of times of struggle. You got everything else in your bag. You don't need to work on that. So I said, get on the ropes, right? So imagine in his mind on the ropes. I said, now imagine him coming at you. What options you got? I want you to pivot to the left and see what shots you got there, right? Slow motion, fast forward, normal speed. Now I want you to pivot to the right. What shots you got there, yeah? Visualise it, pivot, go back. Now coming at you, uppercut, grab him. What options you got, or other options you got there? The ones I'm coming up with. You're better than me, Kev. What do you see? And I kept making him go through this for the whole week program. He ended up fighting the whole fight on the back foot. As the geezer bang, bang, he was just stepping back all the time, just releasing shots. Battered the geezer, dropped him 3 times, first round knockout. Stoppage, split all his head open. And he went to me after, and he was fucking mad. Robbie went 4 times. It was the exact vision of what I visualised. 4 times in that round. It was, he knocked him out. He's finished him, dropped him 3 times on a TKO. He went, it was crazy. It was exactly what I see. Exactly my body. Because what happens is, when you learn to box, yeah, you'll throw a shot, and you watch little kids go in the ring. Someone will throw a basic shot slow, and they still get hit with it. And the better coach will go, what are you doing? You got to move your head. Well, he didn't know that, did he? You just expected him to know that, right? The kid didn't know how to move his head. He's crying, right? So now move your head. Once you get clumped on the nose, you soon want to fucking move your head, yeah? And then they teach you to move your head side to side or whatever. And then what happens in time and preparation, and you forget about, you taught that, now you're teaching to roll your wrist, or you're teaching to step, and now you're working on that, but now your head things becomes a subconscious program. So when you're in the ring, someone throws a shot, you're not thinking, oh, this is what the coach said, I better move my head to the left now, you'll be able to be fucking pinged. Your unconscious just took that on as a subconscious program. Before you slip, right? You don't do it, your unconscious does it. You've got to become unconsciously great. Not consciously great. You can learn whatever skills you want and look good in the mirror, but if you ain't unconsciously great, you ain't going to be nothing. So you've got to train the body. That's what more Kevin thought about them slips and stepping off. This geezer wasn't hitting him in that fight. Do you know what I mean? He practiced it so much that he was just step. I don't think he didn't have a mark on his face. It was just slipping to the left, slipping to the right, pivoting to the left, pivoting to the right, and counter punching wherever he come. And the whole fight, when I watch it, he's just stepping back the whole way. All around the ring, bang, 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 and pinging the geezer.
All really visualised, done.
All really visualised, yeah. Because the body now knows how to do it better than him. So as the geezer, while I said step to the left and step to the right, is because as the fellas, you don't know consciously what he's going to come like. You're having a fight, you don't know he could come this way, that way, but your unconscious will feel comfortable and move into the right position for you because you've shown it so many options. It goes, well, this is the one I need to take for you. at like record speed, quicker than what you could process anything.
Yeah.
And at your feet go boom, and you'll slip within like 0.2 of a second. You slipped into a position that you didn't have time to think about, but you program the brain to do that by visualizing. So you teach skills. Yeah, so you learn skills, and you'll learn skills along the way. So when you're in this here and now to the future zone, before I go on to this next bit, the reticular activating system, I want to show you something. When your thoughts go from here and now to the past, even now to the past, remember in that zone you've got taking bad past experiences, so into the future, which is anxiety. So when your thoughts go from here and now to the past, even now to the past, the emotions that live in that zone is depression, anxiety, loneliness, low self-worth, low motivation, fear, worry, nervousness, anger, resentment, regret, all this shit you don't want to experience. Them emotions can only lay there when your thoughts go back there. When you go from here and now to the future thought, not taking back past experience, here and now to a future thought, you feel happiness, joy, adventure, love, confidence, self-worth, self-preservation, care, desire, all the good shit that you want, all lives in that zone. So where do you want to put your focus is where you put your energy. What you said earlier on, was your thoughts affect your life? Well, you are what you think about. The oldest proverb of all time is, what you think about, you become.
Yeah.
You become what you think about, right? So I focus on the things that I want, and you get into that zone, you start seeing more of them things shape up. You start focusing on health, you start seeing health shape.
Like manifestation.
Yeah, everything's a
The
manifestation.
more you think it, the more likely it is to happen, right?
1,000,000%.
Yeah, because like you said,
that's what manifesting is. Yeah, it's predominantly thinking about what you want, and it will shape up. Yeah, sorry, what you say?
No, I was just going to say, the more you think, like, it's exactly what you say. The more you think about negative things and living in the past, and that, it's harder to get out of it.
Yeah.
It just makes perfect sense. The more you visualise the future, the more you visualise good things, the more you see yourself already there. Like, I can be there what's my 5-year goal? I can be there in 5 years. Who can I be? What can I do?
Exactly.
Like, fuck what everyone else says. You know what I mean? Let me have a go at this, and bang. And
What if's a good question. What if I did make it? What if that did work out?
Well, it's like people say, what if I fail? And it's like, well, what if you
win?
succeed?
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. There's that story of the two wolves, isn't there? Have you heard that one? I can't remember it properly, but you got two wolves. One's focuses on what he don't want and he's angry and aggressive, yeah? And the other one focuses on what he wants and he could be more soft and loving. What wolf's going to win the fight? And they keep asking, and in the end, the geezer goes, the wolf you feed.
Yeah,
and it's the wolf you feed.
Of course it is, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
And it's the truth. The one that's more strength, more fed, he's going to be the stronger wolf. Yeah. So, that's exactly how it works. You have to focus on what you want or what you don't want. You can't focus on what you don't want and get what you want. Yeah. But that's what the schooling system teaches you. Think about how not to fuck up things. And not to fuck up your life. And if you don't do this, that could go wrong. So you end up thinking on all the things that you don't want to happen to protect yourself. You end up in this fucking locked up thing inside your head and not achieving fuck all.
And do you know what it is as well, Rob? It's about, I learnt as well about speaking positively and not using negative language as well. So when I'm in a dressing room, I like to coach and manage non-league football and stuff, and I learnt a lot of this when I'm managing, is not to use negative words and to use positive words. So instead of saying to the boys, we don't want to go out there and lose today, so you make sure we go out there and win today. So the word there is win, not lose.
Yes, you're focusing on it goes back to the focusing on what you want in language instead of not what you don't want. Yes. So I get clients that come to me and I go, a lot of people's problems is they don't have goals. They don't understand that circle exists. I go, what do you want from the session? They go, I don't have anxiety today. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I go, I didn't ask what you don't want. What do you want from it? They go, I just told you. I go, no, you never. You tell me what you don't want. Now tell me what you do want from it. Well, I don't want my husband to feel like, like I don't love him anymore, and I don't want to go out on the bus and get panicky. I say, I ain't asked you what you don't want. What do you want? And they can't. What do you mean? They go, I'm asking you what you want, and you're telling me all the things that you don't want. So if we put that on the flip side, what would be the opposite to that? And aren't they say, just want to be happy? You think, fuck me, it's going to be a long day, right? Because happiness is the effect of your emotion. They've got to learn everything from scratch. You've got to go into understanding that everything gets made twice, that thoughts become things, and that you have to be able to create the things that you want, and you have to put your mind into this circle where all the good emotions live: happiness, joy, motivation, love, respect, confidence, adventure. It all lives in there. Yeah, self-worth.
Speak the positivity into ourselves.
So if you say, I want to be more confident, nothing happens. But if you close your eyes and you see yourself being more confident, doing the things you want to do, you think, yeah, I look good there. And you feel for a while good. But when you open your eyes, at first people at home, the unconscious is going to kick up. The analytical mind will go, yeah, but how are you going to get there? I mean, it's right thinking that, but it ain't real, is it? Fuck off. This is the voice you've got to learn to reprogram. And by visualising constantly and not listening to it, that voice will change and go, okay, I feel safe now. Like, you are the bollocks. You can do that. Of course you can. They ain't got a fucking clue if who they think they are. Let them look down at you. They don't know where they're going. They're fucking years behind you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Your voice changes to become your friend because you have to teach it to, yeah? You have to feed that wolf. Here and now to the future, here and now to the future. So there's a part of the brain which will make sense and science backs it up. Everything I do is based on science and quantum physics. I don't just make things up, or it ain't just an opinion. Visualization. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system. Now that's a group of neurons at the bottom of the brain opposite the pituitary gland, and it runs down the brainstem. And what it does, it filters information that you let in, and it only lets in things that are important to you. So if anxiety is important to you, you're just going to let a lot of anxiety evidence show up in your life. If success is important to you, it's going to start showing you how successful you are. But you have to show the end goal of that to it a lot. And then once it kicks in, it will show you that as evidence. So I'll show you how quick it works. Have you ever spoke about a yellow card when you was young, then you see yellow cars everywhere?
Yeah.
Well, my kids see them all the
time.
time.
Do that with the kids.
Yeah, well, I never see yellow cars. My kids always go, dead arm, I see the yellow car. They go, no, it's a little bit else. Do you know what I mean, right? And I don't see yellow cars, because I couldn't give a Donald about the yellow cars, same as you, right? But if you focus on one, you'll see one. When your missus is pregnant with your first kid, when my missus was pregnant, my ex-missus was pregnant with Bob, 28 years ago, I remember thinking everyone on the estate's been bang at him, and they've all been shaken over Christmas, mate. There's pregnant birds everywhere. Do you remember that? Like, you used to see pregnant women, you start seeing buggies, and you go in a petrol station, there's fucking Pampers, and you think, where's that come from? Baby milk in the garage. Go down Tesco's, there's a fucking baby aisle that you've never seen before, right? You go to the cafe, there's women having fucking baby lunch, like baby breakfast and stuff, like, you see it everywhere you go. And then when your kids get older, you don't see pregnant women anymore. I don't see them. I've got a grandkid. Now, last thing I want is a fucking another kid, so I've got 4 kids and a grandkid. I don't see pregnant women anymore. Do you?
No, well, you don't notice, do you? It's like you're saying.
It's the RES system. It deletes it.
Yeah.
So it deletes, generalises and distorts information. And it only lets in what's important to you. So when your kids get to, I don't know, a few years, one of my kids was into Segways when they come out. All I've done was see fucking Segways everywhere because he wanted one for Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So everything, focusing on what you want, you'll see more of. And that's why you'll become a better boxer, you become a better entrepreneur, you become a better podcaster, you become a better therapist. You have to see yourself at the end goal constantly and then program that information into your system. And then your brain learns the skills. So I was visualising being better than what I was before. I could be better than what I was, but I thought I'd be the next, I know I am, I'm going to be the next Paul McKenna, I'm going to be the next face in this game as a geezer, and I'm going to stick to who I am, and I stuck to that. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm known as Robert Hisee, the UK's number one. I'm going to my therapist. Yeah, and I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I do it for me because it's a constant reminder of who I am, not who you think I am. Yeah. But obviously, as that affects people, see that, and you're telling them it. But that's me. I am the greatest, Ali said. I say I'm UK's number one unconscious mind therapist. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. It's great.
It's true, isn't it? If I don't say it, who else is going to fucking say it?
Who else is going to believe it if you don't believe
it?
Exactly.
And this is the RES system, the reticular activating system. Yeah. Another way of looking at it is like a sat-nav. I like the sat-nav analogy with the RES. If you've got a sat-nav, like for me to come to your studio today, I've had to put in your postcode, right? A postcode and an address represents a final destination, which to us represents a final goal, yeah? Same thing, final destination. If you don't put a final destination in the sat-nav, how can it direct you? If you don't put a final destination in your RES system, how the fuck can your brain help you get there? More people have faith in a sat-nav to direct them to a place than their own brain that's theirs to direct them to success. How fucking sad is that? Do you see what I mean? So
you're wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
If you ain't got that
exactly.
You ain't got.
Well, you're wandering around roads you already know, that's for sure. And if you're not in a good place, you're going to wander around them roads. Like, you don't need a sat-nav on where you live. You want to pop down the shop, you know where to go. Yeah. So if you're making the shit faults and the shit decisions, you're going to keep making. They're going to feel.
So is that familiarity? Are people scared to break out of familiarity?
when you step into change, be prepared because it feels uncomfortable. When you go to change, everything feels uncomfortable. Even if you're visualizing good shit, it starts to feel uncomfortable. The brain goes, well, don't visualize today, you've done it yesterday. It tries to get you away from it because it goes, I don't know what to expect. Because the unconscious mind likes to be very predictable. Reason being, if it can predict where you are at 6 o'clock at night, there's no lion, tiger and bear there to eat you. Yeah? So if you're sitting and having a panic attack at 6 o'clock in the evening, that's what you do every day, sweet, at least I know you're safe. That's what, because your unconscious is there to survive. Yeah? And if it hasn't got any more information, because you can't speak feelings, you're speaking words, it's going to fucking keep you there because it's predictable. So we've got to get beyond the analytical mind, which is where meditation can come in. Meditation takes your brain waves down from beta, which is the analytical mind, which we're in, me and you right now. We'll go down into alpha, where you might see more colours and stuff, and you go into theta state, which is real programming, like when you're a child up to the age of 7. That's why they call it theta state. So everything goes in without any interruption. So it's good to learn to meditate and visualise. You haven't got to, you can visualise anyway, but if you're really struggling, learning to meditate can be a chore because people close their eyes and the voices kick off. If you fuck, I can't do that, I can't do it, my brain's too active. Well, that's the whole point of learning to meditate. That means you need to go and learn this more than anyone because you need to learn to shut that down if you want a good life. You want to shut them voices down. And the easy way to do it, what I'll do is listen to soft music. I did this morning. Put some soft music on 5 to 8 hertz, I put on YouTube. And I close my eyes, I listen to the music, and the voice pops up. I go, fuck off, remove it. I go back to the music. I'm waiting for it to pop up again. I'm hyper-focusing on the music. Yeah, I said one sentence. Voice comes up, oh, it was really good, that was, go away. And it'll even say things like, oh, the voice is gone now, Rob, like, you know, you're there. Fuck off, like, it trick you, it will keep popping up. And all of a sudden, the more you remove the voice and go back to music, it only takes a couple of minutes, you'll feel yourself going down. You might not go down to theta, but you've definitely come down into alpha. And then you can start visualising there. And you can start processing your thoughts better. And when you're in that state, if a negative thought comes up, you sort of think, well, I don't want to think about that. You have a choice not to, where you don't, if it's really analytical mind. You go, oh, that's shit, I don't want to think about that, I want to think about this. It's like you can move them about a little bit. And it allows you to take time out to be able to process it and visualise. If you can visualise in that state, you're going to be into a winner.
When just to talk about that, because it's a scary thing, meditation, for some people. They think meditation is a little bit like hippie-ish and all that. But we can meditate anywhere. Like, I used to meditate quite a bit before. I've been with my wife for like 11 years now, but when I was single before that, and I'd be alone of a night sometimes, just 20 minutes in bed, just turn the telly off, turn everything off, just relax on your own, switch your mind off and just be alone with your thoughts.
Exactly. And people have done it without knowing. When they've laid down in the afternoon sometimes, they don't fall asleep. And they go, I wasn't really asleep, I was in that state in between. Well, that's what meditation gets you to if you learn to do it. So how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
So you have done it before. There ain't no such thing as you can't. It's just that you're analytical. What you've done is the master's become the servant. The brain's become the servant to your emotion. It goes, bang, there's a worry, there's a fear, have some of that, blah, blah, and then you can't stop it. You go, I want you to stop. It goes, fuck you, be scared. So we have to then get back in the driving seat and train this thing because it wants to be safe anyway. It don't want to be scared. It's only trying to protect you. Your brain's always working in a positive intention. It's always trying to, like, if someone goes and murders someone, it's only because they think it's good for them or it's going to protect them from killing them. Or, you know, Charles Manson got them people to go and kill someone because he thought he was helping some revolution that was going to kick in or some nuttiness like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It makes them feel good. Even though it's negative to us, we think you nutter, they still get a positive from it. Yeah, so the brain only works in positive intention even when you're doing negative things. So remembering that, it wants to help you. So we've got to learn to put that into place. We want to be visualising new goals, you know. When I look back to the younger version of me, fuck me, I don't even recognise him. I don't look back, I don't give a fuck. I think I'm grateful for him. I think, thank you, we've had a good job, haven't we, son? And we're moving forward. And I keep focusing on bettering myself, becoming, you know, better in my mind, better to help people, better in relationships. You know, you got to keep growing, and you just got to learn that. You know, one of the new things I've learned lately is in relationships is if you treat each other in the beginning, if you treat each other like you did in the beginning, there'd be no end. I love that quote. It's a good little one, isn't it? Yeah. So for people out there going through that, and I think keeping them standards. The hardest thing I think for the mind is, even though you're visualising, you're creating goals, talking about men in mental health is that opening up to your emotions, talking about how you feel. looking back at my past, I think that's what's hard in relationships. You want to be the geezer instead of telling someone you do feel scared, you do feel insecure, you do feel vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? And I think, imagine back in the day, your mates go, shut up, you prick, wouldn't they? And call whatever else they call you. Do you know what I mean? I get on him, like, you've been mugged off. But now, like, that's just where we come from. But it don't mean it's right. I mean, whenever you learn toughness, you learn weakness. And whenever you have weakness in life is where you learn your strength. It's always at the other side, isn't it? You know, when you go through shit hard times, it actually gives you strength to be able to deal with that next time something else comes along that ain't nothing compared to what I've been to there. And then once you've been in the trenches, you can go in them again. That's why I like doing mad shit. Like, I've done 5 marathons. I run a marathon this year, fucking not even in a good state. I was unhealthy. I was in ill health, still fucking run it. I've done a 5-day fast the other week because I thought, fuck you, I'm going to do it. I knew it was going to be a killer. But I like to challenge my mind. Whenever my brain goes, when I first done a 3-day fast, people going, I couldn't do a 3-day fast, you're going to be mad. I remember, I found myself going to someone telling me they'd done a 3-day fast. I think it was Liam Tufts. I remember thinking, you're off your fucking head, 3 days. I couldn't want to do that. And then I went home and I thought, oh, I sound like yous. No way am I being that. I ain't being one of them. Fuck it, I'm doing it. And it made me doing it, right? And I thought to myself, right, everything is perspective. So I thought, let's get a better perspective. At the time, I'd done 4 marathons. I thought, if I had to train for a marathon again, or not eat for 3 days, what would be easier? Well, fucking not eating. I thought, sweet. That's how I've done it. I thought, I've run a fucking marathon. This is fuck all to that. If I had to go do all that shit training again, do you know what I mean? 80 miles every Sunday and all that, running 5 days a week. And that was how I look at the perspective. And I think in a lot of goal setting and things we do, look at the perspective of things. You just have to manipulate the perspective in your mind. And it clicks a little switch. And you think, yeah, actually, fuck that, I'll do that. And then I pissed it.
I can do it.
Yeah. I've done that. It's a lot harder. If you've lost a loved one, you know, doing a 3-day fast or going through the pain of losing your mum or dad. Fuck me, it's a doddle. 5 days, fuck it, let's do it. Come on, bring it on. And then I find, you know, generalisation is one of them things that the brain likes to do because it thinks things are predictable, but it ain't. Generalising's a bad thing. Sometimes I know people say you should never run yourself down, never give yourself an hard time. That's not true. There's always a place where that will be a positive. So say if I'm out running a marathon and I'm 9 miles in, I think, oh fuck it, I want to go home. That little voice creeps up in me and goes, shut up, you little mug. You sound like a little, I can't really say the things that I say, but I give it to myself, yeah? And then I'm like, yeah. And when you're in the trenches, it's fucking brilliant to give it to yourself, call yourself names, but only in the trenches, not when you're trying to create a better personality or a better mindset. But when you're in the trenches, you know, you're having a fight or whatever, or you're a fighter, get up, you fucking mass, you know what I mean? That sort of language is what you need. Yeah. Yeah, you need to tell it yourself. You need to give yourself an hard time. Why you're in the hard time? How mad's that? The best time to give yourself an hard time is when you're in a fucking hard time, not when you're in a good time. Do you know what I'm saying?
I've done it the other week. My missus was laughing at me. I think I had a right unhealthy day eating pizza and all that. And I went in the gym the next day and I told her when I come home, I said I was in and I was going, you fat fuck.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
greedy
yeah.
prick. Like, just getting myself through it.
Through
like,
it, yeah. It works though, doesn't it?
It works, yeah.
When you're in the trenches, it makes you dig deep and you
Yeah,
push
yeah,
harder
yeah.
and you go through the pain.
Cool.
You have to give yourself pain to go through pain. It's ironic, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and I say all strength is gained in pain. Your muscle only gets, when you take your muscle to the weakest where you can't lift another rep, that's the one where you gain the most strength. You know what I mean? So it's the same in mental, like in life. The mental shit you go through is giving you strength, and you're just not aware of it at the time. But you watch later on in life when other people are folding around you like masses, and you're like, really? You're going over because of that? Like, it's it. So you got life is about your weaknesses. You got to appreciate them as much as you do your strengths, I think. And being vulnerable is a good one. Because a lot of people
we're scared to be vulnerable as men,
especially
right?
if men are well vulnerable.
Yeah.
Scared to be vulnerable. Women could be narcissistic men and they're vulnerable to love again. Their husband's cheated and they're vulnerable to love again. Fucking whole life's fucked after that because vulnerable makes us feel that we're weak. Now, when you say the word vulnerable, what comes to mind? What sort of words like weak, scared, soft, shy, embarrassed? Like, it's all negative emotions, vulnerable, isn't it? Like, you know, hurt. But if you think of courage, what emotions do you think of? I think of power, strength, confidence,
Fight. Yeah. Desire.
Desire.
All those things,
You
yeah.
think of all good, strong words, right?
Yeah.
But do you know, you cannot be courageous unless you're vulnerable. It's impossible. So for you, like you said the word fight, if you was to see a man beating a woman up across the road, you want to go and help him, you have to be vulnerable, because that geezer might beat you up. But you have to be vulnerable to go and help her. So you know there's a chance. To get in a boxing match, into a boxing ring, you have to be courageous, right? But the first step of that is vulnerable, because if you're a woman sitting there and you lose, how muggy are you going to feel? I know it sounds stupid, you shouldn't do that. It's an athlete, bollocks, mate. Men will feel fucking embarrassed in front of their wife and kids that they've just lost that fight, yeah? So for you to get in that ring, you've got to be courageous enough to put that on the line. You got to be vulnerable to put all that on the line to get in there in the first place. So to be courageous, you have to first be vulnerable. So don't look at vulnerability, people at home, as a weakness. It's the first step to courage. You know what I mean? If you're never vulnerable, you're never going to love again.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
No, tell me more, Keith. I love that, mate. No, that's real. I've never thought of it like that before.
Yeah.
Is to find courage, is to be vulnerable first.
You have to be vulnerable. You can't be courageous without being vulnerable.
No, that's great, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Customato said to get him to Tyson, I love this one. He said, what's the difference between the coward and the hero? The coward and the hero both feel the same emotions, but it's what the hero doesn't do that makes him a coward, and it's what the hero does do that makes him the hero. But underneath that, I believe, is the vision inside the mind that creates the emotion of what you see, the outcome as. If you see yourself getting in and helping that girl, or you see yourself getting in and you getting a dig, you ain't gonna. It's the vision in your mind, it's the story you see in your head. It's the wolf you feed again, that's exactly it, yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it? And vulnerability is beautiful, you know, as you get older and you appreciate things like if someone's vulnerable, if you meet someone and the vulnerability is there, it's a beautiful thing. If they're talking, you can openly be vulnerable to each other, and I think that comes with age. It comes with age.
Definitely. It's a nice thing for men to do, right?
It is, yeah.
To feel that energy and be vulnerable in each other's
exactly.
company.
And don't get me wrong, you've got to protect your peace.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure you're okay to be vulnerable, they're worth it.
Of course.
Feel that you're getting the same back, and if you are, be vulnerable. Tell them how you feel. Tell them if you feel insecure. Tell them if you're going, because if they're your partner, they're your match, they're going to be there for you as well, especially if you speak about these things and make it clear, and there's no embarrassment for it. How beautiful is that?
Of course. What do you say to men who are struggling a little bit mentally and who can't find that vulnerability that leads to the courage to talk about their problems? What advice would you give them, Rob?
Start learning. Open some books up. So if you can't read like I can't, then go onto YouTube. There's loads. Come and have a session with me. Have a 3-hour session here. Change your life. You have to do the work. You can't just. If you haven't got the tools, you need to go and get them. Don't you? If you need to put a screw in the wall, you need a fucking screwdriver. So you have to go and get one. So that's the same thing. What I teach is a mindset, is a set of tools. So when people come out of my sessions, I don't want to see them again. I want them to go and fuck off in the world and never have to see me. I want to give them that toolkit. That's like I'm doing here today with you. Talking about some of the toolkits that, if you understand this stuff, just by listening, people will get a lot from this today, because there's some deep shit going on in there, and there's some real different ways of thinking. When you understand it, it's quite easy to adapt. But if you don't know, how can you adapt to it? Do you know what I mean? How can you apply something to your life that you don't know? Mm. So learn. Work on yourself. If you're going through struggle, one thing I say is that, it will pass. I don't care. We've all been in them moments where you think, I've been in places in my life I think I don't want to be here no more. But I think, something good is always coming. There's the law of polarity. When life's really bad, there's like a fine line, a razor blade line of it becoming fucking really good. Not just good. Because the law of polarity states, if you're really bad, that means there's a next is really good. You know what I mean? If you're really skin, it means there's a lot of wealth coming. But you got to be able to accept that polarity and let it go. Think, okay, that's where I'm at now. Not get caught up in it. Okay, things are bad at the minute. Okay, that means polarity is going to come sooner or later. I just got to wait for it and have patience. And I think, in the frequency of life, we can get too cocky and confident. That's just as bad as being too depressed and not unconfident. You just got to find that zone, the balance, and just stick to visualising, sticking to your goal. Don't go above the frequency. Don't go under the frequency. Just stay there. train yourself to feel in this certain mode. And if life's going better, it's good. And you think it needs to go better, let's lift it a little bit. Let's try and changing that tuning a little bit. Let's create a bit more vision now. Let's put a bit more life and belief into it. You know, like I visualise LA a lot. I just come back there from about 2 weeks ago. I love it out there. It's like I want to work out there between there and here, you know. I like to live there one day between here and there.
Yeah.
And that's the gaff for me. Like when I get there, it's weird. I've been lucky enough to travel around the world quite a bit. But something about LA when I get to Santa Monica or Malibu or Beverly Hills, going that sort of way, I get like emotional with it. I love the place. It's like, I don't know why. I think I found my place. Do you know what I mean? And
That's
I just feel great there. Yeah, it's weird.
It's an energy.
An energy.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a guy from the UFC gym out there, and he says when he flies in from Vegas to LA, he says you either feel it or you don't. People either get it or they don't. Do you know what I mean? There's that field there. You just feel it, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And such as life, you know, everything's energy in it. At the end of the day, matter's made from energy. So we've got to tune into them right frequencies.
Absolutely. What about you're talking about frequencies and energy? What about music? Like I've read before about frequencies and energies or the frequencies of music that some are made to make us feel obviously aggressive, and some are made to chill us out.
Some I don't think they actually. There's a lot of musicians don't realise that's what they're doing. It's in the frequency they're in, but it's true. Like music is frequency, energy is frequency, so it will affect your cells. It will affect your body. So if you listen to, think of a song that makes you happy, think of a right muggy song like Holiday by Madonna, right? Now, no geezer's going to go and buy a Holiday, right? Holiday, doesn't it feel like... But when it comes on, your feet's tapping. I thought you're smiling already, isn't you? Like, we know, we got ruined years ago if you put that on in front of your pals, but you wouldn't go and buy it. But when it comes on, certain songs you just think, oh, what? Like...
They lift you.
They lift you, right? Margot, dum, 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 Motown, yeah, a lot of that stuff, it lifts you. But then you get other songs that make you feel down. And you have a neural association to like a lot of rap music, you feel like you want to fucking get aggressive. You start, a lot of kids are listening to it out the window like, what are you looking at, bruv? And they're getting into that zone from the frequency. Everything affects your frequency. Horror movies, negative music, it actually can cause ill health. Like, because when you bring your frequency low, you can create disease, you can create badness, you're going to attract more things into your life on that frequency. So you've got to truly be careful what you pay attention to. So that's why I don't watch much of the news. Do you know what I'm saying?
I haven't watched the news for years. I refuse. I won't read papers. I won't watch the news. I haven't watched it for years. Probably about 15 years now.
Same as me.
Mainstream media, it was done a long time ago for me.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do because it does affect the way you feel.
It's fear.
Yeah.
It's constant fear and anxiety. That's all they're trying to do is pump fear and anxiety into the people.
And once you read it, food for thought, you put it in your mind, it becomes important to you.
Yeah.
Then you start seeing more of it.
Yeah.
You start seeing more and more. Like these people mad over COVID jabs and good or bad either way.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with it. They see it everywhere. You could see a needle. A pen looks like a needle, all of a sudden they start talking about COVID. And it looks like a needle, didn't it? Yeah, like fucking COVID jabbed on. And they're off again. Like anything, they'll see it in the point, and that thing will remind them of a fucking needle on the top of the skyscraper. And, their brain will start seeing it everywhere when the COVID jabs were out, COVID created more illness than COVID, I believe. Because of people focused on illness so much that they were getting ill. People stayed in so much, they're scared of going out the house. I had loads of agoraphobics, not been the same since then. And people waiting, their life's changed.
Do you think that caused a lot of anxiety in people?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
The average person, the lineal thinker, 1,000,000%. For me, that done me good. I loved it. I thought, right, it's opportunity here. Let's get on lives. I think I've done about fucking 50 lives with celebrities and that. I opened a lot of doors, made more connections. I had a good time really.
Tell us some of the people you've worked with.
Johnny Nelson, Eddie the Eagle, on this time, through that time. Who else on that time? My brain's gone dead. Eddie Eagle, Dame Kelly Holmes, like loads of people off of Towie. Who else? Aaron Kraskell, Dapper.
I love Dapper.
Loads of people.
He's
Dapper's a
great,
blind day. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. I see him the other day. He's quality. Yeah, he's good stuff, Dan. He shows unreal, mate. I tell you what, it's up there, Mickey Flanagan's.
Really?
He didn't do a video on the last. I thought he was going to release a movie, but he never. He said he's got another show now. This is better than his last one. But if he'd have put his last one on not DVDs anymore, but like a download or something, it would have gone. It was fucking unbelievable. Yeah, Yeah, he's got this geezer Kevin who works for him now. Who's a what do you don't know what you call, like, directs him through his jokes. So he's made him at a stage show, like, it's phenomenal. So if you ain't seen him, definitely go and watch it.
So were you doing work with him? Because I know he does a lot of stuff about sobriety and that.
Yeah, I worked with Dan with anxiety. The first time I worked with Dan, he was having a fight. He lost it. He was having a fight like a week before the fight. He was getting anxious. So I'd take his anxiety away.
Okay.
And he loved it. He said it fucking worked. I didn't care when I got there that night. I didn't care. It was Harvey from So Solid.
That's right. I remember that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I become friends, and I helped him through his hard. He would go up and down when he was on the gear and pack it or whatever. They'd ring me up and I'd helped him with his sobriety a bit, and he's done well. You know what I mean? I got him with the visualization stuff, all the stuff I've done with you here, and he applies it into his life now. You can see once he stopped drinking, the visions he has now. And he told me that with all his skits, he wakes up in the middle of the night with these visions of these characters in his mind, and then he puts them onto paper at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So when I modelled Dan's mind, where he was good. So in one area of his life he was an addict, and the other area he was in the elite. So when I spoke to him back then, I was getting I was interested in, what visions do? How do you create this? They go, well, and a lot of it, they'll come, he's done it so long, and Aaron Kraskell said the same thing, that he'd wake up in the night and there'd be like these characters in his head, and he'd start visualising them. And then they'll go and put that into a skit and then go and make it like, the one he looks over the fence, I can't remember their names, he does that one. He said that comes to him in his head, and and that's what he does. He creates the characters in his mind and puts them out into reality. Everything gets made twice. It's no different from talking to Dame Kelly Owens. She said that when she was young, she always visualised being something in the army. I don't remember where she went to. I'm not good with that sort of army stuff. But she was high up in the army. She visualised being that, and she visualised being Olympian. And she became both. And the only 2 exams she passed at school was English and maths, because that's all she needed to get in the British Army. Everything else she flunked. So another visionary, both coming. And when she became an Olympian, she was like 31. It's unheard of. Like the 20-year-olds win it, and she broke 2 world records as well. You know what I mean? It was fucking unheard of. She was old for the game. Eddie Eagle talk about visualization. He said, I said, how did you, when I first see the film, when I got to meet this geezer, man, I went and met him. We had lunch, and he went to me before we'd done the podcast, and I was talking to him, and I went, how did you get visualizations? He went, do you know what it was to become a skier? He went, it weren't even to be a skier. He went, I was a little boy and I watched the Olympics, and I see the British team come out, and they had the what do you call it, like a tracksuit with their country. I thought, wow, wouldn't it be good to wear a tracksuit for your country? Yeah. And he went to me, that was my first vision, right? He went, that was it. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to be an Olympian. He went, I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I wanted to be an Olympian. And that's when he kept visualising it like obsessively, like fucking autistically in a way. And he went through all different things. Then he couldn't be a runner. He had dodgy legs. He done javelin. He was no good at that. And he done the asylum. Is it asylum? What do they call that? Slalom, yeah. And he didn't get in. You've seen the film anyway. He ends up, even then, do you know, his mind, his RES system was going, I'm going to find you a way to become an Olympian. Do you remember? In the film, if you see it, he went to the library and started looking for things. And he went, that's it. I'll become I'll do a jumping. He's never done a fucking ski jump in his life. He went, I'll do that. And he started coming down his stairs indoors. And when I'd done a podcast with him, I went to the ski slope he trained on, and he was all netting up. I mean, that weren't there years ago. And I used to come down and go into the car park. It's off his head, the geezer. Yeah. And he said,
you got it for some arsehole to do that.
Oh,
that
mate,
ski jump.
It meant it, wasn't it?
God.
Yeah, absolute lunatic. He had the vision. And he said about, well, when I'll be skiing, I'll be visualising that's how you become a good skier. You see things, and in your mind you see your turn before you do the turn. Like micro-visualising, bang, bang. It's fast, see it, you do it. You see it, you do it. That's what you do when you're coming down the hills. And you see yourself being an Olympian. And he was. He broke our record, which was about 2 feet, but it makes no difference. Like, he was legendary. It was the same year Jamaica had a bobsleigh team as well, wasn't it? It was
okay, yeah.
So
Cool Runnings.
Yeah, Cool Runnings. Yeah. Like 2 of them shouldn't have been shouldn't have been a thing, but it was. Yeah. And he says that, talked about visualization. There was a sad story he told me, and he said that like, when I was with girls, I used to, like, everything gets made twice. I was talking to him about it. And he went, when I was young, I could always pull my girls on the ski slope, because on the ski slope I was the king. No one could touch me. He said, but when I come off there, I was just Eddie. And I took this girl out when I was 15. And he said, I went out to this club, And these other boys basically bullied him and took him off of her. I went home and rumped her sort of thing. Yeah, a bit of a liberty, but he went to I thought to myself, I'm never going to be good in relationships. And he said, I never have. From that day, I believed that, and it's always been in my mind. And he was like, sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really sad.
And, you know, I said to him, you've got to go out changing it. You know, you got these, if anyone knows, these people who can track them, get into frequency like that, it's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all it is.
It's the negative thoughts.
Yeah, in one area of his life, he's the king. In another area, he's worthless. And this is what you can see with a lot of great footballers. You see them on the pitch, being the king off the pitch. They don't create vision. I worked with Jamie O'Hara. Just on lockdown, we released 4 little videos. It was the days before lockdown happened. We knew it was coming. And when I worked with Jamie, he said to me as well that when he didn't know what visualisation was. He said, I've just done it since I was a kid. Actually, he came to my retreat in Marbella, and I showed him a video of the RES system, and he sat there, and I thought he had tears in his eyes, but he never went, you're right. He went, yeah, it all makes fucking sense, Rob. He went, since I was a little kid, I visualised every day playing football, Premiership player. Since I was a kid, I was at Tottenham Stadium in my head every single day. He said, I had girlfriends at 18, 16, they would come second. They had my football first, then them. He said, and then I become a Premiership player. He said, this makes sense, this is why I fucked it all up. He said, because when I got there, he said, I weren't visualising, like, I weren't like training to make the team. I'm training to play Saturday. He said, there's a difference. He said, the vision had already happened. I worked into the vision. Like, I'm already playing for Tottenham. I'm in the stadium. He said, and he said, then, you know, I started getting in trouble, getting injuries, and I become Jamie O'Hara everyone wanted to Jamie O'Hara no one wanted. And he said, I should have been visualising scoring 30 goals for Tottenham that year. I should have been visualising the England A team, the first team, yeah? He said, but I started living in the here and now. And I told you, when you live in the here and now, your brain makes 68,000 thoughts a day, so all you're going to think of is the past. You're going to think of a good or bad memory in the past, and you can start. And if you're not there, you're going to try to get the same dopamine and endorphin kick you got from football in the moment. So that means drinking, partying, birds. Do you know what I mean? So we look for it there. Yeah, he has to get back into the visualisation. And when he come back from there, I said to him, "What do you want to do?" He went, "I'd love to have." This is a true story on my kid's life. You can ask him. It's on the podcast with him as well. He would come back from Spain, and he went in Spain. He went, "I'd love to. I've been on TalkSport with Alan Brazil, and I love it, Robin. I'd love to have my own show on there. They get me on there quite a lot." I went, "There's your first vision." I went, second one. He went, "I want to be a pundit. I've done a bit of Sky punditing. I like to be like punditing for Sky." And literally, when he come back, he started going on TalkSport more. And he repeated everything I was talking about. Everything gets made twice. Visualisations. I remember doing these things. I went, "Mate, get on. Jamie, stop talking about you." I went on and he's speaking about me, and I've been on there loads since as guest. And within within that year, he had the TV. He had his show, the Sports Bar with Cundy.
Yeah.
And he manifested it. And then in lockdown, a year later, I think it was a year later, or 2 years later, he gets offered to be a pundit for Sky for Tottenham, and he's done both. Isn't it? Literally.
It shows the power.
But remember, he's done it before, and to become a Premier player, so his body can adapt to that moving frequency easier. Not that he's consciously aware of it, but that's exactly what happens. Yeah,
he's doing it unconsciously.
Yeah, well, it does the visualisation consciously, but his body's adapting quicker than what mine and yours will, because he's used to. His body goes, when you focus on something directly, like obsessively, so. He's gone straight into it. I love that as well. There's no such thing as talent, there's only obsession. The man more obsessed with what he does becomes the best at what he does. So if you become obsessed with the vision of your end goal, you're going to become the best at what you do. You can't, how can you not? Robert Hisee, the UK's #1 unconscious mind pyramid, isn't it?
Tell us about your retreat in Marbella. You just mentioned.
Oh yeah, my retreat.
You got one here as well, right?
Yeah, I do day retreats in Ongar. Right, it's a beautiful place. We do it at Ficklefield. Beautiful venue. We do day retreats there where we do, we'll start off with breakfast. You get your 3 meals in a day. You'll have your breakfast, you'll have a Tabata workout, a yoga stretch, and you have lunch. Then you have unconscious mind therapy with me for an hour and a bit. Then we'll do sound healing with the sound bowls. We'll do Wim Hof breath work for an hour. It's really emotional. We see people cry, like grown men, like releasing trauma. And then we'll do the cold water dips, like getting a cold water, Wim Hof cold water. We do that therapy. And then you'll end up the day with, dinner. And then we do a cacao ceremony around the fire. And then I'll get the guitar out and we have a sing-song and everyone has a good day. But it's a good long day, but to work on yourself. And a lot of people going through trauma, the first thing you have to learn to do is settle your nervous system. You can't work on your trauma while you're still in the effects of the trauma you're experiencing. So these day retreats are great for you to sort of get an understanding of that. You'll get a lot from me. You'll get good mind therapy from me. And you settle your nervous system down and release trauma all day and feel good for it and meet like-minded people. And then I've got my retreat in Marbella. The next one's in April. These are like the week-long retreats. They're amazing. Like we do mountain climb. We do all the same sort of things I just spoke about. But we also do we climb La Concha Mountain while you're out there. We do like water sports on the knee boards. We do beach for training. We do cardio tennis with this geezer. Gary's hilarious. And we have a good laugh with him. And yeah, so much more. It's just fun, and also you get time to chill around the pool. There's no alcohol, obviously. It's a retreat, but we have a little white party on the last night, and we have a little dance, and everyone brings a white outfit with them. It's good. It's a real good. And as I say, we meeting like-minded people. You meet people that you would never meet. Like you might meet a doctor, an air hostess, someone from the army. I don't know. You just meet different random people going through different things. Some people getting over cancer. Some people have stopped treatment. It don't matter what it is. But you get all these people together, but they're all on the same sort of journey. It's weird, different walks of life, and everyone just gets on. And the biggest question I get is, do many people come on their own, Rob? I'm a bit scared coming on my own. 90% of people that come on their own on my retreat it's great because when they get there, you can see the anxiety, and they've done nothing like this before, and they've been away on my own before. You get all that. And then by the end of the week, they're all crying. You're like a sister I never had, because you're in the trenches together all day. You're working out all day. You're doing fitness. You're doing mind therapy. You're doing your breath works. You're doing your mountain climbing. You're doing your beach training. So by the end of it, they get this bond that could have took you a year to get, but you've got it in a week because. Yeah, and it's good. It's and people feel good when they come on their own because they can be their self more. They can be more vulnerable because no one can judge them.
Of course.
Yeah.
I feel it's easier sometimes to be more vulnerable in front of people you don't know.
It is,
in front of people you do know.
Yeah, because you ain't got the trigger of getting mugged off or feeling you don't really care what they think. But people you care and love, friends and family, you do. It's sort of you feel that shame for some reason because of the triggers.
No, for sure. Where can people find the retreats, Rob?
The retreat is www.theholisticretreat.com. On Instagram, it's theholisticretreat_. If you want to find me, it's roberthisee.umt.com, or my oldest website I've been using for years is www.thehypnotistman.com. That's where you can find me, brother.
What is next for you, mate?
Next for me, I've got an app I'm working on called Clean for sobriety to help people, because everyone looks at AA. It don't work for everyone. It's great who it does work for, and it's amazing. The 12-step program's good, but a lot of people it don't work for. So I'm looking at showing them other ways, how to stop drinking, and not have to go into that. People get triggered. They think it's all about God and stuff. You ain't got to go down them roads. If you can come and learn about the unconscious mind and how to program it. I want to put a bit on there for sober, curious, have a week, try 2 days, try a month, whatever. And I'm getting people who've been through the program, like Aaron Kraskell's on there already. I've done a bit of him. I've got Wayne Lineker to interview, but he's not well at the moment. He's getting well though, thank God. I've got other people who have done it different ways, so it's a bit of an eye opener for other people who can see that you ain't always got to take that route. That didn't work for you. There's other methods for you can do. I'm going to show you methods. So that app's, I'm working on that Clean. I've got my retreats that I'm building up, my UMT Academy next year. This is something I really want to push next year, is training others to do what I do, because I've been doing it years. And I want the help to be out there. I can help so many people a year, but if I train 10 people, I'm going to help fucking more than what I could do on my own. So how amazing is that? So I've been doing them for a couple of years, getting them corrected. And now I feel secure that right now it's time to start training UMT therapists. So my UMT Academy is going to be going from February. I'm pushing that big time. And to get other people to help others. So if you've got what it takes at home. You want to be a real life superhero and help other people. Get in touch, because as long as you've got a good art and you get off on it, that's all I want. I don't want that, that knowledgeable psychotherapy shit where, I look down my nose at you. I want people who've got, experience with life, who can feel emotion. Get in touch, and on my courses you learn unconscious mind therapy, which is some parts of that is hypnotherapy as well as unconscious hypnotherapy. I teach you unconscious mind therapy, hypnotherapy, my old blend of it. So I teach you how to put people into trances, put them into hypnosis. So you can go so many ways with this. You can just become a hypnotist if you want. You're a hypnotherapist, it's up to you, but you'll learn so many skills to be able to help people, be able to remove trauma fast, and also give them mindset to move forward, which is the most important. But removing trauma is important. We've got to get that out, get the body settled down, and let's go. Let's move forward.
Love
so
that.
yeah, umtacademy.com, www.umtacademy.com. But thank you, mate.
Rob, listen, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. And from your story, from where you've come from and how you grew up to what you're doing now and helping other people, I think is amazing, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And being the UK's #1 unconscious mind therapist. It's been honestly, I've loved it.
Yeah, me too, mate. I loved it. I've opened up a lot more than any other podcast, and it's been good.
That's great.
Thank you for having me, mate. I really appreciate it.
Mate, all the best for the future.